don't know Rosemary Austin, that we were talking about Bishop John's wife, and it's really, we'd like to ask Rosemary,
I want to say a little bit.
yeah, and then we'll ask you to do the contract, and we'll hope it doesn't fall off the wall. That's a long way behind.
It's lovely to be here, and it's wonderful actually to have my youngest grandson here, because his father was brought to things like this in a similar way and jiggled back. John died 5 years ago this summer, and we did lots of things in memory of him, from planting trees in my garden and my sisters in Canada to contributing towards a bowel cancer research fellowship, which and that ended this autumn. And so it was very timely to get Jean's letter, knowing life moved on, that you were still remembering John. And I know that actually of all those tributes, this would have pleased him more than any. He was so proud of St Basils. He was excited to take over as chair because he'd had such a good reputation in the diocese, and the diocese was so proud of it. And he also took into areas that he'd always liked working in, and where he thought the church should be working. Nonetheless, when he came as chair, he realised that it was going to have to move up a gear. If it was to go on, it would have been wonderful, but it had to somehow move it up. And one of the first things that Jean said was the appointment of the chief executive. And John and I used to joke sometimes, he's made some pretty duff appointments in the past. We lived with a terrible youth worker when we lived in the house when we were first married. But John thought was wonderful for a few months, and then he lived in a disaster. And because John, you probably know that when he was at City Challenge, he appointed one, if not two people who, nearly brought the whole project to their knees. But when he appointed Jean, they all knew they'd struck gold. She was just what St Basils wanted. And St Basils has grown from strength to strength. And when I read in the annual reports, it just continues to go. And I just wonder how much longer, but it's fine. John always wanted to be a hands-on chair, and he just loved everything that his role allowed him to do. He talked about the sleep out and rattling the tins. He loved working with the staff, the young people, the board. I remember an Irish benefit night at the Alex. And my favourite photograph of all of them is at an award ceremony. And he's sitting in his suit and a sort of rather posh bishop's thing, and his his silver cross, and he's waving his arms above the serviette in one hand. And so obviously something was being performed with the twinkle in his eye. But it wasn't just fun. He just knew how vital all this work was. I mean, what could be more urgent than trying to stop cycles of deprivation, prevent homelessness, but much more importantly, provide good quality accommodation, raise the aspirations of the young, and you all know it better than me. They're wonderful aims, and St Basils does it so brilliantly well. And I also going to repeat a bit of Jean, because despite bad times, economic times, they've still continued to grow and bought this terrific project. And I know that John there's nothing that would have been a better memorial to him, nothing would have pleased him more. So we're very honoured to be asked to do this little task and declare. What do I have to do? Declare. Yes, hopefully. Yes.